Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I am your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. It follows. It always walks towards you. We've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
AIDS.
I don't remember that being in this movie. Is that actually a line from this movie?
No, I was thinking, like, this reminds me of the older films where the whole AIDS crisis was a big fear, and so they incorporated that into films, like in horror films, like, oh my gosh, like it's gonna spread somehow. And I like this movie. It's like, oh, they're passing it on, like this disease or something, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like you'll always have it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's actually I'm really excited to announce our next guest. We brought him on specifically because
he has AIDS.
Because he has AIDS. Yeah. Because he has an STD. So Bryce Laidler, come on the podcast, say hi to everybody, and tell us about your gonorrhea.
What the F, Mom?
Yeah.
I was
What's the F, Mom?
I was gonna say the whole line, but I didn't want to piss off Jordan right from the start.
So,
That's right. There's a lot of editing to do here.
Okay, I'm just kidding. So let me just tell you, syphilis is no fun. So you know.
That's okay.
This movie brought back way too many memories.
It made me think of the opening scene in Hangover when he's like, hey, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except syphilis. That will come home with you.
Yep.
It made me think of this whole movie, like this whole... Okay, so TD stands for Transmitted Demon from Hell. This movie's great, guys. We're talking about It Follows. This movie came out in 2014. It was directed by David Robert Mitchell and written by David Robert Mitchell. And it stars Maika Monroe, Care Gilchrist, Olivia Lucardi.
Did you watch his other film, Ty, Under the Silver Lake?
I have not seen his other film with Andrew Garfield. I want to see that.
It.
Did you like it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I do want to check it out.
It's more like conspiracy theory stuff.
Interesting.
It's weird and dark.
I just have a hard
What?
I just have a hard time with directors that use three names. It's just kind of pretentious right away.
Very pretentious, you know. Yeah.
It's like it can't just be like Robert whatever. It's like, you know, Robert John whatever or whatever his name is.
Whatever his name was.
Whatever his name was. Yeah. When you have to say all three names, the only time my mom ever used all three names when I was in trouble.
Maybe I should just refer to our buddy Davey. I'll just call him Davey from now on. Our director, Davey, buddy. Hey.
DRM.
It also it's DRM. It stars Olivia Lucardi, Lily Sepp, Bailey Spry, Charlotte Phillips, and a few others. I actually wanted to see. Oh, and Jake Weary and Daniel Zavato, who was just in the movie we reviewed. He was he was Money in the movie Don't Breathe. I don't know if you remember that movie, Bryce, the first Don't Breathe.
Yeah.
Daniel Zavato, yeah, he's Money.
I love that movie.
Yeah, he's the terrible boyfriend. Money, his character's name.
Well, he wasn't a
Money.
very good boyfriend in this one either, so starting to be typecast.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was a great boyfriend, wasn't he? He took that weight off of her.
What the F, Mom? I'm not scared, but my mom can answer the door with her, and I don't slam it right away. I just...
Oh, my gosh.
Was she like, when she was...
Yeah, she was.
The demon, that's what I've decided. You never see it kill anyone except him.
So what the heck did it do to that girl in the beginning on the beach?
That's what I was going to say. She was like...
It was like her legs all weird. Like, come on, that's
the demon has some.
That's
man,
like,
hey, Bryce,
that's like,
all right.
That's right there. I don't get into that.
Dude, don't. All right, hey, we don't on this podcast. All right, we love everybody. All right, you know, some people. That's cool, man. This demon, it's terrifying, guys. Holy crap, we got to get into this movie. The reason we're watching it the first time, what was it like watching it the first time, rewatching it for the podcast? I watched this movie. I remember getting it from YMS. He had great reviews about it, but it was kind of on my radar because I had been following Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm like, what good movies are coming out? Because in 2014, I remember, was it The Witch? There was another horror movie that came out the same year. I talked about this on the Witch podcast, I think. I think Witch came out in the same year, and I'm a huge Witch lover. I love the movie Witch. I know, Bryce, you're not a big fan, but that's okay because your opinion does not matter. No, it came out in 2015, so this was a year after. But maybe Babadook came out in the same. I don't remember. But anyway, there was like a horror movie renaissance that happened around 2010, 2011, 2014. I just said a span of 4 years. Yeah.
There's a renaissance from 1998 to 2021.
They redefined horror. No, it just made horror movies exciting again and fresh, and it was great. So I loved watching this movie and rewatching it. I forgot how terrifying this was. Like, I already know this movie, but I forgot so much about this movie. So it was a joy rewatching it. This is one of my guilty pleasures. But let's get into Bryce. What was it like watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
So the first time I watched it with my daughter, who is now 22 and moved out. And she
still needs therapy.
We used to love watching scary movies together because my wife doesn't like them. We actually watched The Witch together in the theater, and we both hated it. It should have been called The Apology. No. But we actually both really liked it. I mean, again, I don't think terrifying isn't the word. I enjoyed it. I like the movie. Let me just say that right off the bat. And then. So I'll share my opinion obviously later, but rewatching it for the podcast, I rewatched it today actually, with my wife. I said, "Hey, why don't you watch this with me?" Because
that's scary.
She supports my podcast guest appearances. So anyway, so we watched it, and again, it was enjoyable. Again, I saw way more things to be nitpicky about this time. Where I was kind of like, oh, come on. But, you know, for the sake of the movie and what it was, is very enjoyable. I don't understand how it got 96 on Rotten Tomatoes, but it was enjoyable.
Because it's beautiful. Because it's a beautiful masterpiece. It's a horror movie masterpiece.
I don't
Say it with me, Bryce.
I wouldn't go. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I would watch it again. Just, you know, it's like a bunch of people come over. You're like, hey, have you seen this movie? Oh, we should watch it. It has a lot of, you know, like this is the one way this girl can be an absolute and everyone like feels bad for her. Like, it's great.
Yeah, this movie is a super accurate horror movie. The girl gets behind the wheel of a car and she crashes it like 2 minutes later. It's perfect. Brilliant. Like, very accurate to
the only life. The only thing that would have you know been more realistic is if she was Asian. Then, you know. Hey,
oh my gosh!
Hey, we're
going to hell for sure.
To the 2 Asian listeners, I'm sorry. It was a joke.
Dude, they don't listen to our podcast, man. They're doing math right now. All right, so we've got Jordan Christensen. What was it like watching it for the first time, rewatching it for the podcast?
I don't remember if I rented it from Redbox or something, and I don't remember who I had heard about it from. Maybe it was you, Ty. I think
yeah.
You had
because it's just on my radar. Like, I love reading Rotten Tomatoes and being like, what movies are good right now? Like, because I wanted to know why good movies were good, right?
Yeah, well, I do love horror movies, so I don't know why. And anyways, but rewatching it though, I love it. Actually, I think it might be in my top 100 just because I love the music.
You have a top 100?
Yeah, me and Ty made a top 100. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get in on that.
Yeah, you should. It's actually really fun, and
you can go to IMDb and rank them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun as you move them around because I do have a lot of recency bias. It's like, oh, I'm bumping this one up because I just saw it, and then I'll watch another one. I'm like, wait a minute, this is way better. I don't know why I bumped that down.
Yeah.
And
how did I put that above Shawshank Redemption?
I know. I can't believe that's number 1 on IMDb.
And then you're like me, and I'm like, Forrest Gump doesn't make the top 100. Blasphemy. I know. I'm sorry, everybody listening.
It's not in my top 100, but I
didn't know that. Yeah, I thought you liked that movie. Oh, is it Cameron that likes that movie?
No, I do like the movie. It's not my top 100. Like, I watched it maybe once or twice. Like, I'll never watch it again. It was good.
I can't think of 100 movies right off the bat. Like, every movie I can think of would have to be in my top 100 by default right now. I'm like, oh yeah, it's in my top 100. Yeah, The Witch is in my top 100. I'm just. Yeah. It's got to be like 99 or 100.
It's like make a list of 100 friends or people you know, and you're like, I don't know more than I don't know as many people are in my phone. I don't even know the contacts of my phone, guys. Like, seriously, that's how bad it's gotten. I've got contacts in there. I'm like, I don't know who this is, but I keep their number because I'm like, what if they text me one day and I'm like, I'm sorry, who is this? Like,
you're like, oh, it's Marty, the guy I met at the gas station that one day. How are you doing?
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's that annoying kid in my accounting class that I cheated off of. Oh man.
But I'm very excited to see more of this director's work. Like, I think this movie's great. I think Under the Silver Lake was great. I like his stuff. I think he creates a great atmosphere, and he does a lot with a small budget. Like, gosh dang, if this budget was...
Because he's got 3 names.
Yeah. I mean...
He's got money for each of his names.
Yeah, he had a story to
That's
tell, and he
facts.
told it, and it brought me back. I love a lot of the movies like Nightmare on Elm Street. I just really enjoy kind of those horror movies, kind of that era, and so I just like the music. Like I was listening to, it was a kid that creates music for video games, so that's explains a lot of why it kind of sounds like a final boss battle with some of that music. It's great.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's crazy. So I like what you were saying. So let's get into two of our favorite things. Let's have you tout it off. Bryce, what are your two favorite things from this movie?
Two favorite things. I actually really liked a lot of the shots and the different angles that the director took. I mean, I even though he has three names, I do appreciate his work, and I think that was really good. There was just a lot of really interesting, like aerial, like straight up shots and just weird angles and lighting that he used. So I would say that's one. And then two, I like that it was like, I mean, you never really saw anything, but he still built a lot of anticipation of what would happen once they touched. You know, like just from that one image of the chick getting all wrecked in the beginning, you're like, oh man, you know, because you really didn't see much when what's-his-face got to death by his mom. I mean, that was pretty, you know, but I mean, like, you didn't see like him all mangled or whatever, but you still didn't, like, at least me, I didn't want to see him afterwards because I was like, dude, he's probably wrecked and I don't need to see that. You know, but I mean, like, I feel like he did a good job building that where you were like scared for the person almost, like, dude, don't let him touch you because they're gonna wreck you. You know, I thought he did a good job without showing like a bunch of gore and violence and, you know, like limbs breaking and all that. And I guess that maybe ties into the budget. They didn't have a budget to do that kind of stuff. But like, I thought he did a good job, you know, really sculpting that world without actually showing it. And that's actually pretty hard to do, I think.
Yeah, knowing what to show too.
Yeah.
And using your limitations to your advantage. Like,
Yeah, especially in a horror movie, like the horror off screen is usually much more imaginative and terrifying than what they could actually show. So, but Jordan, how about you? Two of your favorite things?
yeah, I was just thinking about that. I love, like, kind of going into little details. I like when they find the kid's building. She's like, well, he never really, you know, didn't want me coming over to his house. And when he finally sees it, you're like, oh boy, like, and you see like all those bottles around the entire house. So if it makes any noise, you know, he'll wake up and then he'll be able to take off. And kind of like Edgar Wright has said, he likes slow moving zombies, the idea that something is always walking towards you. I just love that concept. Very fun, very clever. So it's just like, you know, it's never not moving. And
Oh my gosh.
oh, I guess that would be in my nitpick of it. I got some.
That's great. Yeah, it'd be interesting to talk about that because I didn't think of nitpicks the first time I watched it, but the second time for sure.
Yeah, me neither.
So-
yeah.
So I love the music, guys. This is the scariest.
Wait, that was
movie
only one
soundtrack.
thing though, Jordan.
Oh yeah, did you?
You only said one.
No. I said the little details, and then I can't remember. I said a second thing, but
Oh, okay. So it was okay. I get you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that was all like the little
Bryce was the
details.
no.
Right.
See, Bryce is actually listening to me. Ty doesn't listen to me. So.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm
wanna
enthralled,
say
man. Every time you speak, I'm just like,
Oh, jeez.
something. Hanging on to every word.
Every
okay?
word.
Everywhere. So I love the music. This movie has the most terrifying soundtrack. I don't know why it works for me. Like maybe it seems overbearing, but like that song that plays as the old nanny's walking through the college campus, it is the scariest sound I've ever heard in the hallway. I don't know why. It's like
So
old timey.
good.
It feels like it's overbearing almost, but it's like
Yeah.
it terrifies me. It's just like the constant hammering, and she's just slowly walking. Scariest looking Gran, by the way. I'm sorry, whoever's Nana that is.
that's
You
my
need to
nana.
put her down. She has been on this earth for far too long. I don't think they did much touch-up work. I'm sure that's just who she really is, man. It's terrifying. In a hospital gown, just
They slapped a gown on her and said, "Hey, just walk this way, and we'll
just
be
walk
good.
this way.
We'll give you $50." She's like, "Okay."
Okay. Poor Nanny. She probably didn't even know it was a horror movie. Because that music plays over and she's just like, hello? And no one else sing. Okay, so loved the music. It just added so much intensity. Because not only the scary parts, but the cool techno, like retro throwback. I love the nostalgic feel that it gives you. So again, I'm still talking about the music here. But they do like that cool techno sound that almost sounds like... I mean, this movie's like obviously set, I don't know, 70s, 80s? I have no
It's got to
idea.
be 80s
but-
or 90s.
I was just saying
Yeah.
it has to be because you look at
Yeah.
the cars. They didn't do a like in one of the shots. Like there's modern cars there, but they do give it
yeah.
a nostalgic feel. Because I'm like, huh, look at this,
Right.
you know.
Yeah,
And
I'm guessing the biggest giveaway was that clam book. I don't know what to call it. It's like a little foldable
whatever
Kindle.
the heck she had.
Yeah, a shell, whatever it was.
Well, that wheelchair that he put her in was definitely a 2016 model. So
You know, you're Bryce, also being our handy abled person on the podcast, gets around on his scooters. You know, he rides around a lot of.
I'm all about the ADA compliance, man. I know my wheelchairs. That was definitely a 2016.
It's like, oh, I didn't know they had those in Detroit.
You know, I'm thinking about like all the details, and I'm thinking too. I love the idea that just like you don't know who it is because it changes shape.
Oh,
so
yes,
constantly everybody's like looking around like, can you see that girl? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got chills.
Yes. See, I love that too, and that goes right into my second favorite thing. So after the great music is just like the movie The Thing, you never see its final shape and form. It changes every time you see it. However, there is a few callbacks because they actually use the same person. There's a big shape of the man in the hallway, which is a great scene.
The big tall
There's
dude.
also the big tall dude shows up
That
at the
was
lake house
creepy.
in the shed. He walks by the window, so you see the tall guy once more. I actually thought one of the weird women in the house that threw the rock through the window and was in the house. I thought she was one of the at the end, but I don't think they were the same person. But they looked like the same person. But
One
I
of
just
them
think all
looked
skimpy
like
clad
her.
women.
The sister that farted. One of them, the one that
Yes.
peed, looked just like her.
She took the form of
Oh,
her friend
okay.
in the
Oh, well,
water.
that would
It
make
was
sense.
actually her. Yeah,
Oh,
Bryce.
okay,
I thought
okay.
that too. I didn't catch it the first time because I was like, she does look familiar for some reason. I was like, I wonder if I know the actress. It is the same girl that's in the water.
Okay.
It actually takes the form of someone. Yeah.
Ty, did you
so I thought
notice
was great.
that person outside the window? Was that like a friend or something? Or am I going crazy? Like there was somebody outside the window. Maybe I have to go back and watch it. But
Oh, you mean the in the bathroom?
Oh, was that what it was?
It was one of the boys that was
Yeah, it
over
was
the
one of
fence.
the boys
looking
that
at
was
the
over
pool.
the fence. Yeah.
I thought
And
that
then one
was,
of them was
I
teasing
thought-
him through the kickball at him.
I thought that was the it thing, and it was hiding outside our window. I was like, oh my gosh.
just watching her. No, that was the creepy thing too, because again, it's like she's constantly being stalked from both the demon and from people in her real life. It's
Here's the
crazy.
thing:
This
the
girl.
only the reason, and it just hit me right now. The only reason I think that scene was ever really put in there was because, like, my thought until it hit me just now was, how in the heck did that guy get on the roof? You know, the dude,
Yeah.
the
The
dude
guy
with the
on the roof.
loincloth, and then you just reminded me that the kid was on the
Didn't have
roof.
a loincloth.
So
He was
I don't know. I think it was a loincloth. I don't know.
Look up IMDb. It says there's a man.
All right. Well, maybe it. Well, there was a lot in that movie.
well, I thought it was always walking, or does it once in a
See,
while?
yeah, that moment he was just standing there, kind of like taunting her. I'm assuming it's because they didn't want a man walking around on the roof. It
But
seems
when
like a safety hazard. But yeah, he's
Yeah,
just
that's what I
standing
was
there.
wondering.
When
taunting
I
her.
saw it, I was like, how the heck did he get on the roof? And then when you guys mentioned that kid, I was like, oh, well, that kid got on the roof. So, you know, people standing on the roof is a thing in this movie.
Maybe easy reach tree, but I'm assuming because she was in her bedroom on the second story, that's why he got up to the roof and nearly made it to her. And then
Well,
they
and the
went
kid
down.
did say it is smarter than you think. So I was like, okay, because there was only one time or twice that it talked. It was outside the door, pretending to be.
Yeah, it can take the impressions of somebody else. It can speak
Because
like someone you
there's
love.
moments I'm like, this thing's
terrifying.
pretty dumb, and the other moments I'm like, okay, it's not as dumb as.
Yeah, like I thought that was interesting that you said that too, because I was thinking of the trap. Like, okay, getting right into the end, I love like they set this big trap, elaborate
Yeah.
scheme where they're like, we're
they
gonna
thought they could
electrocute the
fool
shiz
it.
out of it once it
Yeah.
gets in the pool, and it doesn't go in the pool. It just starts taking the electronics and throwing them at her head. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shiz, that's an effective demon. Like he's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna start throwing this stuff at you. How do
Well,
you
that
like
was
huh?
a pretty flawed plan from the beginning. That's actually one of my
Yes.
gripes. I'll wait till we get to that.
Yes.
But the second
Yes.
time I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh. I kind of had a big
Yeah,
eye roll
I-
there.
Yes, I'm with you.
I was
but
wondering
again,
what they were thinking, but
yeah.
the idea is like the thing has to get in the water in order to get to her, and she's in the center of the pool, so it's like whichever direction it comes, she can have a
Swam
chance to get out
away, yes.
and then throw the stuff in.
But
I
why-
get that, but
I'll wait.
Sorry,
Dang
go.
it. I want to gripe. I'll wait.
no,
Keep
go.
going. No, because we've already said our favorite things. We're just gonna go back and forth between the things we love.
Because
and
I got
right.
some nitpicks too. I'm
Yeah,
curious.
let's hear
Well,
it.
why would she just hang out in the pool though? Like, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna sit on the edge and I'm just gonna wait because like everybody else is just hanging out, you know. And the minute she sees it walk in, then jump in the pool and get in the center. But it's like she's waiting in the pool, You know, like you're gonna get all wrinkly and
Bryce is-
stuff. You know, while you're waiting in the
That's what
water.
you're worried
Like
about.
that's
You're gonna get all
boring
wrinkly.
as. Why would you?
Well,
sit
you don't
in
know
the
which
pool?
direction it's going to come from.
But
'cause
she's
it's pretty
only got
smart.
2 doors. She's got 2 doors coming in. Like when it backed out into the corner, there's 2 entrances into that. So I mean, she could have sat on the long side of the pool and just waited, or even not even sat in the pool and just waited. And then when they hear the door open, all right, go jump in now. Like he's here, and then point him out. And why are we shooting randomly when people are behind it? Like,
Yeah, didn't he hit one of the
Oh
kids?
my gosh, he
That
shoots
idiot.
her in
It
the
was like-
leg. Okay, guys, you want to talk
it's
about
like a
nitpicks?
couple
Okay.
times people could have
Where
got shot.
are the parents? Mind you, this girl gets in a car accident up north or wherever they are at this lake house. She drives the car and gets into the hospital. One, I guess her friends caught up to her knowing that she crashed down the road out of sight and out
Yeah,
of
and how did that
earshot,
thing
I'm
not
guessing.
catch up to her?
How did the thing not catch her before
Yeah, because
they
it was
went to her?
because it
pulled
was
her,
following.
got her
and,
ambulance.
and they stopped running. Ty, did you notice that? They're like, "Oh, she's
My
gone."
only assumption is that the neighbor that backed his truck out saw her go into
Oh, and
the
he did
cornfield because
something.
he was backing out and saw her veer off the road.
Oh, so
And he's
got-
like, "Oh my gosh, there's a woman behind the
probably
wheel of the
grabbed her
car."
and
He's
took
like,
her
"We
to
got
the
to do
hospital."
something."
Yeah.
Before she crashed, he's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a woman driving car."
"Oh, jeez."
So I really like. There was another nitpick I had. One was the scene where obviously the one lady it's mimicking the friend, and she comes out of sight. No one sees her because again we don't know at this point. Well, she should have been aware that she needed to be on lookout because no one else can see it. He says this because they already tracked down the guy.
Are you talking about when they're at the beach?
No one else, when they're at the beach, the demon goes up and pulls her by the hair and does nothing except. It's a great scene because it reminded me so much of The Conjuring, where the hair lifts up on the back of her head, and they're like, "What is that?" And then she gets thrown across the room. And this one, it was like, "I'm just gonna kind of taunt you by holding your hair up." I don't know. I
You
just
just
thought
said it
would've
likes to
started.
kill people, and
Yeah. The demon's like,
I don't know.
"You're mine." Anyway, it was a great scene though because oh my gosh, that scene where they're struggling with it, she can't get away from it. It's pulling on her head, and the kid hits it with a chair. It just like smashes the chair on some invisible force, and the kid goes flying back. He just gets launched
That was
back.
great.
Man. That was a great scene because I was just like at the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my gosh, like how is she gonna get away? And then she too easily gets away. I don't know. It's like has her by the hair. and
When
it's just
she
like,
runs out of the of that little boathouse thing,
yeah, the little shed.
and none of them follow her. That was a gripe I had because she runs out, gets in the car, drives away, and then they start to run out. And I'm like, wouldn't you have all just followed her out? Like, where are you going? And then we all run out with you.
Right.
But they don't.
Right.
Like, she gets into the car, starts it, drives away, and then drives into the cornfield. And they're all like, oh, hey, I guess where does
well,
she
I
go?
think at that point they were still thinking like. Did they? Because they hadn't seen anything.
Do they
before
really
that.
believe her?
Yeah,
Yeah, she
because a lot
sounds
of them were
crazy.
like, "Ah, man," because just seeing a girl like going absolutely nuts and just
No, but
screaming
but Jordan,
hysterically
they
at
just
it.
fought a visible
They
force.
just
Yeah.
fought it.
Well, that kid,
homie
yes,
looked down
they're-
at his stomach and he
Look-
had the
yeah,
marks.
it's like holy crap.
Well,
got
he
marks
did,
on-
yes, but
Yeah,
the
he
other
did.
of them, I don't know. I just
It's true. I get what you're saying, and you're right. Like those are nitpicks as you start getting into it. Because what about the scene with the giant monster walking down the hallway? He like walks into the room behind the girl. She
it's
should be
giving
like,
me
"Do you
chills
see
just
this
thinking about
giant effing man behind you that we none of us have know or seen before?" And like, she just like freaks out and runs. And it's like, tell them what you're seeing. Like, does anyone see this man? Is anyone freaking out like I am?
It was a great call when they threw the blanket over him. That was finally a good decision. I was
Dude,
like,
you know what
oh.
they should have done? They should have freaking done. I only learned this from Invisible Man, so I'm stealing from Invisible Man. Grab a bucket of paint, get some spray cans, and just spray paint the shiz out of this demon. Then everyone can see
Well,
it.
I think
Walk
you're-
down to the police precinct and look at this thing. It's walking at me. It's like an invisible cloaking device.
Well, has
then
anybody-
the police could put him in the slammer, throw him in prison. That demon ain't getting out of bars of solid metal, dude. That's how you beat this thing, guys.
Has
I'm just
anybody-
saying, spray paint?
Is there?
Go to the police.
Has anybody? Because I was wondering, has anybody tried to like capture the thing? Because I was just wondering, like,
Yeah, dig a big hole and make it walk over to it, and then throw a blanket over it, shoot it in the head, and make it fall in the hole, and then it can't get out.
well, with spikes or something. I don't know. I just because the thing is smart though, so I don't think. I mean, but
If you
it's
threw a sheet over it, and then you could shoot it in the head, and then you could disable it temporarily because it gets shot in the neck and it falls.
or have chains on it or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, lock it up. There's a lot of things you could do. You can get an iron castle and protect yourself. But again, I'm talking about feasible things. A can of spray paint is all you need. You need to spray paint this demon down and be like, look at this spray paint thing coming toward me.
I
Like,
just
you
don't
spray paint enough
understand
of it.
what any. Okay, so your point, Ty, I think is great with because
Bryce is like, no,
made a
I go
note.
the
Transfer it to.
Bro, I-
Transfer it to.
as many people as I
I
want.
made-
Well,
here's the
I have
thing.
a self-proclaimed
Okay,
demon
okay.
myself,
So two
but-
things. You just brought up another point. So when what's his face, Daniel, the actor you like, that you know, Daniel Z, whatever his name is. So when he sleeps
Wait,
with
Daniel
her,
Z. Oh yeah. So wait, sorry. Yeah, okay, Daniel Z, got it.
One
Okay,
dies
you're
by
talking
his
about
mom?
the boyfriend, dies
Before
by
his mom.
Death by yes.
Yeah. So before that, he
Took it from
her in the hotel room, which I mean, come on, visiting hours are
Or the
over.
hospital, right?
Oh yeah, hospital. That's what I meant, hospital. Visiting hours are
Bryce is
over.
like, I'm in the
motel.
Visiting hours are over at 5. Okay, I don't know how in the heck he's like snuck into her room, and it shows it pans. It's
The
like,
heartbeat monitor, dude, it's just going through the roof.
beep beep beep, and then like I was like, come on. Anyway, but then all of a sudden he has like a table full of chicks that he's like, and I'm like, but he didn't
transfer it to
any of them. Why would it show that scene? Like that was weird.
No, Bryce, I think that's really interesting that you mentioned that.
That was weird because I was like, oh, so he
transferred it to
one of them, and then it's done, and then nope, hey mom, how you doing? Like that was weird, and then
Slow down, Bryce, real quick.
Okay.
I know you mentioned a nitpick, but I think it's possible because remember they mentioned it had been 3 days. I think we're to assume that he went out and
transferred it to
someone else, and he's like, I haven't seen the demon. He's like,
yes,
I guess
he
you're not.
said
We're
that.
fine, but okay, it's possible that it traveled from the north because they went way up to that island. It is possible it would have taken the time to get back, but I think we're to assume from that scene. I think he did
transfer it to
one of those girls because he whispers something to her and we don't hear what it is, and like they literally cut from him
taking it from
her for in the hospital to like him at the lunchroom, and he's talking to some girls. And he's obviously flirting with them, and he's like, I'm going to pass it to the school.
Yeah.
And I think she got killed, and then it comes back to him, and he thought he was safe because he's like, oh, it's the high school. She's going to be
transfer it to
everybody, and then I guess he misjudged her character. It turns out she's a pretty good Catholic girl, you know. And then she gets killed by the demon, and then it comes after him again, and in the form of his mother, and kills him with terrifying.
And then that poor girl, she goes to the 2 guys on the boat, so they must have died too.
Yeah, see, and that's another thing. We don't ever see, she doesn't mention that she's it.
Transfer it to.
But I'm assuming that's what she did. She literally gets in the water and goes swims out to these brohams, and I'm like, so wait, if they
transfer it to.
do all 3 of them get killed at the same time? Does the demon have a hard time choosing between the 3 of them?
it would just because whoever she
Transfer it to
first is gonna have it.
Thank you.
And he ain't probably. You know what I mean? Like we have to assume.
I don't know, man.
We have
Bryce,
to assume.
You know, maybe. Also, why not explain to the people, because you'll have a better chance if they at least know about the monster and the thing that's even if they don't believe you, they'll be like, oh, someone's approaching me, and then someone actually starts approaching them. They're like, oh my gosh, like I was warned about this. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, they never seem to explain to the people. I'm like, Bryce, give me your 20-minute pitch that you just
transfer it to
woman or whatever. It doesn't.
Hey, that was actually going to be my question for Bryce.
What's your 20?
I'm with you.
Your 20-second elevator pitch.
I've got a better question, Bryce.
Okay.
Would you take it from? What's that girl you're obsessed with? That superhero chick.
Brie Larson.
Would you take it from Brie Larson if she had this thing chasing her?
Yes. Yes.
Not even sway.
I don't even have to think about that.
You were crazy. The rest of your life, you want to be looking over your shoulder.
So here's the thing.
Just transfer it to.
I would
take it from
Brie Larson, and then I would catch a flight to Hawaii because I don't know why these guys don't think like, hey, there's an ocean
on an island.
This dude is walking. How long would it
doesn't seem to
him?
like to swim? Yeah.
Yeah. How long would it take him to get across the United States and then have an ocean between him? As much as I hate Hawaii, and I do, I would live on Hawaii until I saw this dude coming out the water, you know, like, or grandma or whoever it is walking out of the water. And I'm like, all right, I've lived here for 20 years at this point. It's time to go back. Then I would go back. And then, dude, by that time it got me. If it kills me, I'd probably be because I'm probably 85 years old and that thing me to death all at once. That's all I'm saying. I don't understand why no one was like, hey, let's put an ocean between this thing.
Yeah, it is interesting, like an island.
And was anybody else waiting the minute they crossed 8 Mile for Eminem to like come out and have a cameo? Because I was like, can we please have Marshall Mathers up in here? Like even just a tidbit of an Eminem song on the radio would have kind of done a little tip the hat to Detroit thing.
Yeah, did they not listen to Eminem? What's wrong with these kids?
And how in the world? How in
probably pre-Eminem?
How in the world is this pool like not maintained? The water is perfect. There's lights on.
Building
there's
seems
electricity.
to be
but
yet
I don't get no one's there, and these kids are like bringing lamps in and all that.
Yeah.
Like, you know how many trips it would have bring? They brought a typewriter. How many trips did they take to like load up all this stuff? That was one of the gripes I had, and I was like, "And who puts?"
To be fair, they probably had hours. Remember, she said, "Like I guess we have hours."
Who puts that many power outlets around a swimming pool?
They were gonna zap the thing to death, right? That was their plan.
I know, but I mean, like, who? Have you ever been to a swimming pool? Power outlets are nowhere to be found.
I don't think typewriters run on electricity. I don't know about you,
but they had one. They had one with a cable.
They did.
And then all the stuff they brought was from 1950. Did you see that TV?
Yeah. Well, see, that was the other thing too. I love like the old TVs. I love the old movies that they're watching. I thought that was kind of fun. I don't know. It's like, does everyone just watch like really old campy black and white films? Like no one watches like, I don't know, the game shows that were on in the 70s or 80s, whenever this takes place. It's like, I just thought that was interesting that they were like really, really old style. I'm guessing that the director, bless his heart, all three names of his, probably really, really liked old films and was doing an homage to like those old campy B horror movies.
Oh, totally.
You know?
Oh, and Under the Silver Lake has a very similar vibe to it too. Just very, retro.
Yeah, very retro. It's kind of exciting. I love that it follows like the. I remember the poster again. It's like, because again, real quick, like what I liked about this movie that's really effective is they play on the idea of like the final girl and
transference
security with like your death in horror movies. Like a lot of slasher films heavily rely on the idea that if you
transfer it to
in the horror movie, like you will be killed off, you know? And so what's really great about this, it's like, it's literally how the demon works.
Yes,
like, is
because
through
of transference.
Yeah, because of it. I thought it was really interesting. So I don't know. I thought that was great. Like
I also thought there was a kind of a theme of like the teenage and the impending adulthood, which is kind of what I liked about that.
It is a coming of age movie.
Like
almost,
like when you're a teenage, and she talks about I
transfer it to
them in high school. It wasn't a big deal, and then all of a sudden the reality of not being a teen anymore. And that following you, and your decisions as a teenager and living that life. I mean,
look at Bryce.
I did like that. I liked that aspect of it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not so innocent anymore, right? Like it used to be your neighborhood friend, and you guys were kids, and you dink around or whatever, and
And then you
transfer it to,
and he dies. Like that's just how it goes.
that's how high school.
The harsh reality of growing up. Yeah.
Just talk about that. His mom was actually kind of hot though. Like, I think we're ignoring that fact.
So one other nitpick I was going to have, we never see it shapeshift, like, and we're only to assume that it's one demon and it changes shape based on what exactly, like, does it shapeshift to, like, I liked how it shapeshift to a small boy to crawl through the small opening in the barn door, even though, like, none of them really scared me except the grandma. I'm not going to lie. Like, the grandma was the most terrifying.
You were afraid of the big tall guy?
The big tall guy was a little scary.
Tall guy. Yeah, he too. That was the greatest scare for me, was just walking through the hallway. That was such an amazing shot.
His head like tilted because he couldn't even fit down the hallway.
Yeah,
so tall.
Just walking through the door. Yeah, it's crazy. But it's a little funny though, because he's like waiting for her to walk in the room and he's walking behind her. It's just a little funny on rewatch.
Well, because they can clearly feel it.
No, I know, but I'm just saying he like walks in behind her cordially. He doesn't push her out of the way. I know. But you understand what I'm saying is like
it doesn't want other people to get involved.
Yeah, which is interesting. Says he waves his hand at the other guy, but he's so focused on trying to kill her in the pool. He's waving his hand at the guy that's shooting a gun at him, and he's like, get out of here. He's like,
because he knows he can't die. Yeah. But
maybe he's like,
knows,
I'm not worried.
It can slow him down though if he gets shot.
Getting dragged underwater, that's so terrifying. And they don't bother to get in the pool with her. They're just like, I hope she gets free.
Oh, that shot.
He does shooting, yeah.
When she's looking in the water and the blood's coming. I was like, why do you have your head right where he can reach up and grab you? Have you never seen a horror movie?
I did think there was going to be a final scare, but there wasn't. I was like, I guess the creator thought, well, why wouldn't they stick around? See, does the demon heal and then eventually climb out of the pool, or does the demon just take shape like Mr. Smith in Matrix? Does he just take the form of some person, or is it just always a shape-shifting demon that's in one place always at one time?
I wonder
it doesn't jump.
If it like respawns somewhere. Like if there's like
that's what I wondered,
a spawn point, and then it like because
I'm guessing
like
it just healed
up
and climbed out of the pool.
Yeah, well, in the pool it was like like all like
fainted quite a long time. Yeah, because she got shot in the neck at the beach. The demon got shot in the neck, and it only fainted for about half a second, and then climbed right back up and was going at her.
Right,
I guess the shot to the head.
He shoots it, but didn't he shoot in the head on the side of the pool, and then he shoots it again in the head in the pool?
Yeah, and I guess when he's in the pool,
but then in the pool it was super bloody.
Yeah, I guess it bled out. See, that's the thing. That's kind of my nitpick. It's like he shot him in the head outside of the pool, and then he falls into the pool, and then he's still trying to drown her perfectly fine. And
but when he was in the pool, so here's the other thing. When he's in the pool, and they're all like, "Can you see it?" And she like crawls, like, stand up and look, be like, "Do you see it?" Water. Like, no, he's there. Okay, throw crap in now. Let's go back to the original plan. It was like there was no, like, she gets out of the water and there was no like sense of urgency. There was no like, we got you out. Let's throw everything in. Let's go back to the plan. Right. It was like they abandoned everything. They're like, "Oh, he threw the toaster in there. We can't do it now." Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. As soon as you threw the toaster, it's like swim to one side under the water and get the freak out of the pool. Yes.
Can you guys?
Yeah, she just kind of like,
what were your
I will
thoughts?
Duck down so the item doesn't hit me in the head. Yeah.
I mean,
she was
like, it did hit her though a couple times. Maybe she's disoriented. I don't know. I'm just kind of.
No, I mean everybody else. I mean everybody else. Like the dude and the I know the one chick is like holding her foot because she got shot. But I mean the other two.
Right. All three of them didn't help at all. Like, they were just, like, waiting. Like, what do we do? And the toaster starts flying in. All the items start flying in. It's like, the one kid's walking around with a gun, and he's just, like, firing at them. Like, he's actually shot. And that's the other nitpick. Guys, he shoots her. What are they going to do to the cops? She's in the hospital and, like, healing from a bullet wound. Does he just get off scot-free? How do they explain that to the cops, that she was shot by somebody else? Like, I don't know. But it's like, that kid would be, like, isn't that, like, that's, like, a jailable offense at least?
Yeah.
If you shoot somebody with a gun.
I mean, when did this take place? Maybe that's a newer law. I don't know.
In the 70s, you could shoot your friend. It's like, no, we were just playing around.
It's Detroit.
Just an accident.
It's Detroit. They're used to it.
Defund the police,
man. Normal.
This is normal. Oh, you're playing with the revolver? Man, I remember being a kid shooting my brother in the head.
This is weird. A white person got shot in Detroit. Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, to the two black people that listen, I apologize to that.
No, I just watched Scary Movie, and that's what she typed on the computer. I'm a white woman, and then all of a sudden, all the cops show up.
Yeah,
and it was directed by a black guy. It was pretty funny.
Oh, that's great. Any other nitpicks or things you want to throw out? I just wanted to throw out, as far as my notes here, it follows. One thing I thought was so great was I liked how her mind was all over the place. She was scatterbrained a lot of the time, where she's like, "I could stay over if you like." I'm like, "What a hero!" And then she's like, "No!" Like all of them were like, "No!" And I thought that was funny. He's like, "Man, the guy's trying to
transfer it too."
She's got a demon. He sees a window. He's a little snake, and he seizes his opportunity. I'm like, that guy's a snake oil salesman. That's what he is.
I don't think he necessarily was all bad intentions. He looked like a sweet kid.
He had intentions.
Well,
George,
I mean, look at him. He knew, like, okay, this is my one chance.
Transfer it too,
and I'm gonna
get a girl
take
that looks
it.
like Brie Larson. Does this not look like Brie Larson?
She does not look like Brie Larson. Come on.
She does. She does. She does a lot. Like Brie Larson meets, I don't know who else, like somebody else. Maika,
like 30 other people. Come on. Okay.
I would say closest to Brie Larson. I'm trying to think of another actor. I don't know.
Let me throw out a gripe here before we start.
Let's
continue to defame Brie Larson and her gorgeousness.
She has a likeness. Anyway.
They're both blonde.
Well, because they're blonde and they're white. Yeah. I'm with you, Jordan. What the heck?
I thought it looked like her a few times. Anyway, okay. What's your nitpick?
So, sleeping. Have you noticed how many scenes everybody's sleeping? Like, the hospital. Like, have you ever visited anybody at a hospital? And, 8 people are asleep while they're sitting around her. And then, in every other scene, everyone's always sleeping. And I'm like, why are we all
pretty
asleep?
lazy.
And then
you gotta sleep with one eye open.
Like you said, well, no parents, but everyone's sleeping. How many scenes? Go back and I don't know if you're gonna go back and watch it again, but when you watch it again, when you do, watch how many scenes are people sleeping. Like the dude's asleep, the mom's, the family's asleep. Everyone's sleeping. It was so weird to me watching it again. How? I could just imagine the director okay, in this scene, pretend you're asleep again. And they're like, again? Yeah, just sleep. Everyone goes to the hospital.
Well, they're all sleep deprived. I think that was their little moments they tried to get some sleep. And
we just got a glimpse of that. I don't know. That was a gripe of mine.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my, so we mentioned gripe, and this doesn't really go along with that, but one thing that I really loved was just all the background scenes where you see people walking at the camera and our characters.
Yes.
But they never explicitly say, that is the follower.
Those
I just like it, because you don't know for sure, how many close calls they actually had, because there's scenes, where they're all in the car after they go through the school yearbook to find the guy that passed it on to the protagonist. They, are in the car, and there's clearly, a student just walking straight at the car. And again, it could have been a normal person. At the very end, I thought it was really interesting how they were dressed in white, like almost like the artsy shot of the film where they're holding hand in hand and they're walking down the street, like almost like an old couple, and they're dressed in white with like a dark over jacket. And I kind of liked it because it's like this dark thing that plagues them, that's always following them. I don't know. That's the imagery that it brought up. And and the shot behind him, you see someone clearly walking on the sidewalk, which is weird because the scene before it, I don't know what we're to assume. He drives past two, and I guess his thought was like, I'll pass it on to one of them. Yeah. And as long as they
transfer it to
somebody else, they'll die likely, and then give it back to the probably, and then pass it on to. So like, pretty good up person to have above you because they're hopefully like that's what your hope is. But then you have to run the risk of actually getting a real. But anyway, I digress. Can you still pass the demon? I'm curious about that.
Two things that this reminds me a lot of Super Dark Times, and you guys said you don't see a lot of the parents. I like that idea because as a teenager, we've already mentioned this, but you essentially are in your own world, and you essentially like it's like nobody else exists except you.
Mind you, she is above. Like, well, I guess you could argue she's a teenager, but she's like 18 or 19. At the youngest, because she is in school. She's at university, I believe.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
So, but you're right though. She's still living at home, and they do mention don't tell mom because she'll freak out. So they do mention like let's not involve parents. Like this is very much a kids movie. We don't even involve the parents really, except when they're.
Well, I don't know if I'd say it's a kids movie.
Oh no, I
know.
Yeah. By what I mean by that is like. Yeah, how do I explain this? It's like It or whatever, it's all the kids-centered movie, but it's not for kids. Let's put it a movie by kids, not for kids.
You're like, okay, now kids, now as soon as Moana's done, we are going to watch this movie called It Follows.
It Follows. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's terrible.
And the way they talk was the other thing that I because they all talk like high schoolers or I guess young beginner college.
And real quick with that last shot though, Jordan, I like what you said with the person following behind. I like that the last shot was literally the camera following the two. I don't know. I just like that. Like you're the predator and you just have that sense where their backs are turned. They seem so helpless. Like it's right behind them, walking just a few paces behind. It's just so.
But they're holding hands, and they're gonna battle
Work
it together.
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that.
But again, like I don't know what the plan is. I guess like as soon as he dies, she'll know that it's after her again. I don't know, but don't stay together, right? The guy warns her. He's like, don't stay together. That was another really good thing I liked about this film was they did such a good job at building the suspense. I love when she's on the date with the guy and he's like, okay, let's play a game. You're the person you would trade places with, the woman in the yellow dress. And she's like, what woman with the yellow dress? He's like, we got to get out of here. We got to go right now. And it's so cool. On rewatch, you're just like, oh my gosh, like he's being followed right then and there.
I love what he said too. He's like, you're a girl. It's easier to pass it on than for me. And because that idea that like he had to like build up this relationship before he could take it from. So there's YouTube videos about guys like going around like asking like, oh, girls, will you take it from me? And the girls usually always say yes. Always say no. But then they had a girl do it, and almost every single guy that she asked said yes, I'll take it.
They didn't have Ryan Gosling try this study. I'd love to see how many women turned down Ryan Gosling. They always had like some nerdy, like balding, fat belly dwarf. Like, hey, can you
take it from?
They're like, no, and then they get Brie Larson for the girl side.
He was a handsome looking guy.
Okay,
though.
I guess.
It was like
handsome guy.
They have Ty going around asking people if they'll
take it from
them.
There's his jab. You got me back, Bryce.
But then
take
it from
me, huh?
But then he drove up with like a nice car, and girls started saying yes. But anyways,
that is hilarious, dude. Don't you dare mention that, Jordan. Women aren't all out for our money, okay? That's not true.
Our money? What are you talking about?
So real quick, I want to hear our money for men. They're out for men's money. That's all I'm just saying. I'm just stating a fact here, Bryce.
Oh, jeez, right? We sound so bad.
So real quick, I want to hear your 20-second spiel. You just passed the demon on to somebody else, Bryce. Let's go. Let's hear it. How do you explain to him? Real quick, I want to hear you explain.
On the spot?
Hey, I really appreciate our time together. Yeah. Just 20 seconds. Go.
I'll be like, look, okay. All right, sorry. I had to say that. Okay, so
that's another thing, right? Is it only? I'm just curious.
I would.
Curious.
So
it's an interesting question.
Yeah. I would.
I don't know.
I mean, I would. So okay, so I would be like, hey, just so you know, something's about to follow you because it's been following me. Y'all just need to
transfer it to
somebody else real quick. All right, just believe me. If not, it's gonna kill you, and then I gotta
transfer it to
somebody else, which is not all that bad. But I'm just saying, you probably want to
Transfer it to
somebody else.
I know, it's almost like pay it forward. Yeah, it's almost like pay it forward. It's like the most, I don't know. It's like paying it forward.
Let's hear yours. What would you say other than like thank you so much?
transfer it to
Me. After you said that, then
so
what
after
would you say? Yeah.
I say, listen.
What
listen.
would you say?
Yeah,
to,
I'll say.
What
Okay,
would you
so
say
you've
to
seen the
him?
movie Pay It Forward? No, this is my 20-second pitch. Have you seen the movie Pay It Forward? Yes. Okay. So you have to
transfer it to
someone else, and then that someone else
transfer it to
someone else, and they
transfer it to
3 people. And they
transfer it to
somebody else.
And then
Just keep paying it forward. That's all I'd say. And then
and what would
and then what would and say? I don't know if it passes. Is the demon like consider? Yeah, does he consider that? I don't know.
he would have to?
Does he consider? I don't know. I'd be interested to know. This demon's like,
I
that's
wish they
abominable. He's like a subtle phobe. He doesn't pass.
I wish they showed us where he came from, or she,
I
or
think-
whatever.
Yeah, I
Right.
would love to see the origins on this thing.
Like a
Yeah,
prequel.
he's like,
Who
if
was
he just kills
patient
us
zero?
and we go all the way back to patient zero. Yeah.
Like instead of like
So,
it
some guy slept
follows,
with a gypsy and the gypsy cursed him or whatever because
like
or something.
it's just called like It Started or It Starts or something, and then like somebody made like a deal with like a demon to like, so that their kids were all blonde hair, blue eyed or something, and then all of a sudden
It started with Hitler.
yeah.
That's right, dude. That's all bad things, man. I knew he was up to no good. That and the Jews. So let's get into any other nitpicks you guys wanted to throw out there.
Wait, hold on. We didn't hear Jordan's spiel on what he would say.
Jordan, your 20-second pitch. How do you explain to somebody? You just gave him the demon. Let's hear it. 20-second pitch.
I think that kid did it pretty well. I mean, I don't think like
Doing it well. He literally tied her to a chair and said, "See this woman? She's gonna follow you."
Yeah, but Ty, she's not
Dumps her
gonna
off.
believe. How else is she gonna believe? Like,
It doesn't matter if she believes. Just tell her the spiel. I'm telling you. Tell
Where
the
did
spiel.
he,
I wanna
where
hear
did
your
he
20
get
seconds.
the wheelchair?
Everybody else, she passes it on to. They die right away. So
I can attest,
he
Bryce,
had it
it's
in
not
his
hard
trunk.
to steal a wheelchair.
He had the
Sorry, just
wheelchair
fun.
in his trunk, or he set it up beforehand. Like clearly, he had a separate house with all those cans. Clearly, he set this up and spent a lot of time thinking about it.
I'll give you that.
So he had that wheelchair set up way ahead of time. He had the chloroform. He was ready. And at that moment, like I think I don't think there's any good way to go about. I mean, because if you just tell them, the people that were just told, they all died. Like the guys on the boat, dead. The one that
I know, which is interesting because we never see them die.
Guy
but, yeah.
We have
on
to
the
assume.
boat. Only killed one of them.
That's true.
good
Yeah,
point.
one guy,
Thank you. There was 2 guys on the boat, but he showed
Three guys on the boat.
Yeah,
which is
3 guys
one
on,
of the movies.
and it was probably the black one. Let's
Well,
just be
but
real.
do we know though if she did pass it off to all 3 of them? Do we know if it'll kill the first one she had, transfer it to, but then go to the second one, or does it just go straight
I
back
think
to
it's
her?
a chain.
Yeah,
So
I think it has to be a chain.
If you give it to somebody else, it's not following you anymore. Because he said we shouldn't be together. He can still see
so it's
it.
just a single
but
person.
Yeah, it will
Yeah,
still go
yeah,
for
yeah,
her.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he's worried if he's around with her, it'll kill her and instantly turn to him. A double kill.
Double kill.
Oh, the demon's
kill.
like, I found 2 of you.
Kill-tacular.
That's the other thing, guys. Just what would the demon do, man? He'd be
Dude,
like,
that
"I
would
guess
be
all of you."
that would be where I'd be. I'd be going to parties. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna
transfer it to,
gonna
transfer it to.
her. You get some military people involved because they like, I'm telling you, like they just didn't think properly. Nothing, no responses there. What now? Ty decides to change headphones. What's going on?
Yeah, my headphones just died, dude. It was just too much. Or what you were saying was just too offensive.
Ty was in love with you, Bryce. I was like, what? Ty is in like love with this guy. You know, he's had you on more than any other guest
That's right.
that we've had.
Well, I mean,
just in this short 2 months.
Let's just say, like, but though, I mean, it's quality content. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have me on if I wasn't like contributing.
If I was to pass this on to anybody, it would be you,
That's right,
Bryce.
Bryce, I'm coming to you and I'm giving you my
Bring it.
transmitted demon, dude. It's coming to you.
Bring it.
Jeez.
I want to throw out one last thing. My ultimate idea is you just do an OK Go music video and you put treadmills all around you facing the opposite direction. And as the demon approaches you, it gets stuck on the treadmill walking at you and you can sleep soundly. Just saying. Yeah, that's my idea. That's my brilliant idea.
But the thing
Treadmills.
is smart, so...
Yeah, you can't sidestep those treadmills,
Yeah,
dude.
watch
It'll
it just go around and unplug all of them, and then walk in the
throw
middle.
a treadmill at my head. Thing seems unusually strong when it wants to be because it
It like
threw
cuts
that
the
kid.
power to the building, and you're like, oh wow, all this money I spent on treadmills has gone to waste.
It was a joke, okay? I still think digging a hole or the spray paint was the best answer, because then you go to the police precinct and you're like, look at this thing, it's chasing me, and you're walking around the police precinct like, help me out, and then they jail the thing, and then it can't get out of the prison, and then scientists study it, they get grants on cloaking device, how does it stay invisible, and then you'll get a Nobel Peace Prize, and then you'll land a really hot wife like Brie Larson, and then you're gonna live like a millionaire for the rest of your life.
And then you
transfer it to
your wife, and then it goes after her. You're like,
the thing gets free, and then it ends up killing Brie Larson, and you're like, no.
Brie Larson,
Great
if you
horror
ever
movie.
listen to this, so call me, please. Please
nice.
call me. And bring your
Yes.
Captain Marvel suit, because I need that. I want it and I need it.
Oh my goodness, you're a
nugget.
Well, guys, it's been a pleasure talking about this. And none of us even addressed how this, honestly, the first date where he like drugs her, like way too much like date, it was really freaky. Like,
But they
it was
had
a terrifying scene.
They had
Past it.
before he drugged her.
Right. But it's still terrifying because it's like, I'm going to kidnap you now. And because we just watched Don't Breathe, and it made me think like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lock you up in my basement. No, I'm going to tie you to a freaking wheelchair and force you to stare at this terrifying woman walking at you. And she's like, what is going on? It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah, but she wouldn't have listened otherwise, you know?
No,
Try
I mean,
her. That's all I'm saying.
Did you think it was weird? She shows up to the house and the mom's like, do you want to come in? And all your friends? And then they're all like in the backyard, like sitting down in a circle, just like, hey, let's just all share a story.
None of the kids, like, they're like skipping school and going to the other school and getting like information. It's like, shouldn't you kids all be in school? But then again, I guess it's college, so they're getting passed. But not her siblings. Her siblings are walking around with their younger sister. She's skipping school for all this? Is it summer break? I don't know, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what was going on, but maybe it's Detroit.
Car crash,
Like,
yeah.
things go
And they're
different
like,
in Detroit.
Just keep doing your thing. Yeah,
They're
you
like,
get
as
shot.
long as you don't have a
keep doing your
handgun,
thing.
we'll do whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just like, I'm really surprised that no one was like thwarted. No police intervened. Like, there's no cops in this.
Well, no.
movie
There was a
whatsoever.
cop. There was a cop in his driveway when he died, but it was only one cop car that was sitting in
Cop
his
in the driveway when he died? Wait,
Yeah, when
who?
the Daniel guy died, got killed
By his mom.
Yeah, but there was a cop.
Oh, that's right. They're
There's a cop
asking.
car
Yeah,
in the
they ask
driveway.
her. Oh no! And also after she
Passes it to him.
tells the cops, and she's like, "Was it?"
Mutual.
I kind of like that scene where your protagonist gets alienated from the cops. They do this really well in Squid Game too, where they're like they just openly mock the person, and it kind of makes them feel isolated. They do it. I mentioned Squid Game, but there's other movies that do it much better. But they have the scene where you try to explain it to the authorities, and they're like, "So you think this happened?" And they just don't believe you, and it's like. It's a really good way of like alienating you and making you feel more ostracized. Like no one believes you, so you're on your own fighting this thing. You're not going to get the cops to help out. But again, can of spray paint still the best idea here.
Oh, and I just want to say before I forget, if you like the two actors at the end that survived, they're really good, and the kid's good in Atypical and The Good Neighbor, and the girl is really good in The Guest, which is really fun.
The
So,
Guest. Oh,
yeah.
Dan Stevens movie. That movie's ridiculous.
The first guy, the one that passes it to her, and the kid, he's really good in the I think it's called The Kingdom, where it's like a
Star Trek kid?
TV series. It's like a TV series, and it's like they're all like the mom is running like this group, and they're all like kind of thugs, you know. Anyway,
Interesting.
he's really good in
I've
that.
seen The Kingdom. Well, great. Well, Bryce, we end every podcast by sharing social media presence. I understand it. You're a musician. Tell everybody about it.
So I'm just kidding. SoundCloud.com/DoneMessedUp. Done Messed Up. I was going by my normal name, but there's like 50 million other Bryces. So I just do Done Messed Up now. And you can find all my music on there. And the album will be out hopefully either by the end of this year or beginning of next year. And Jordan actually likes it. So I was really happy.
I'm going to leave a link in the description too.
Leave a link in the description. So, folks, this has been Futro Hit Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futromovies@gmail.com. Check us out on Patreon. Check us out on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. Like us, follow us. And this has been Futro Hit Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Peace.